All right. Everyone hear me all right? Man, it is so good to be here. I love this. The energy's been awesome. The team that has put this on has been incredible. Wow, what a blessing. So today I want to start off with a question. All right. If given the opportunity, would you purchase your own business? If you That's exactly right, right? Seriously, would you go? Would you get a bank loan? Would you put your house up as collateral? And would you buy your own business? The answer for most of us is, heck no, get that thing away from me, right? There's way too much hair on it. I would never buy my own business. And you know what? That's okay, because you guys all took steps to be here, to get better, and to improve. Because the truth is, unless we improve our businesses, unless we make changes to our businesses, they're not sellable. We don't have a sellable asset. I want to tell you how incredibly rare it is to actually exit out of a business. So in America, there are 35 million small businesses. It's a lot. And every year, only about 9,000 of them actually sell. That's 0.02%. Way less than 1% actually end up selling. And so let's talk about this. Let's say you actually want to sell your business. You go, you find a broker, you contract a broker, you get it ready to sell, and you go and you list it. Only about 22% of those businesses end up transacting. And believe me, it is not because there aren't buyers out there. There are people like me who buy businesses every single day, and it's becoming more and more mainstream. There are people that want to buy businesses, they just don't want to buy your business, because you haven't built it in such a way to where it's attractive to them. I get people asking, because of what I do for a living, I get people asking me and picking my brain about how to buy a business literally every single day. So I promise there are buyers out there. We just haven't created businesses that are sellable. So I want to let you know though, so even if you never plan to sell your business, okay, so let's assume that maybe you want to just pass your business down to your son or your daughter or your grandkid, whatever it is. What makes a business sellable also is what makes it scalable. And so when you build a business to sell, what you're doing is you're giving yourself options. Okay, maybe you want to continue to run it with way more profit and way less time, or maybe you want the option to exit. Maybe you do want to find a buyer and you want to sell off your business, put millions of dollars into your pocket, and go on to the next thing. Here's what I can tell you. The people that are doing this the right way are building generational wealth. They're building generational wealth for themselves and for their future family. My name is Jordan Thompson. I'm one of the founders of Bluebird Capital Fund. We are a private equity firm that focuses exclusively on gutters. So we buy, grow, and scale gutter companies. I think, to my knowledge, we're the only private equity firm in the country that does this exclusively with gutter installation companies. So we're pretty unique in that way. We've acquired 13 companies over the last 3 years. Most of those are gutter companies. We'll do about $40 million in revenue across our portfolio. And again, most of that is gutter revenue. I want you to know though, my background is probably more similar to you than someone who came from Harvard Business School. So I don't have a degree. I don't have a fancy degree, nor do I have a degree at all. Okay, I did 1 year of community college, met my wife, so it ended up being a good thing. But I don't have a degree. I was 21 years old and I just got back from an LDS mission. And if any of you guys know Mormons, we get really good at knocking doors across those 2 years, because it's all we do for 2 years. So I got back from my LDS mission, and I was getting recruited like most missionaries are recruited to go and knock doors for pest control, for alarm systems. And my future business partner and I got together and we said, hey, rather than go and do this for somebody else, let's just start our own company. So that's what we did. We started a pest control company. We built that off of doors, knocking doors. And what ended up happening is we built this company, we ended up selling it, and we kind of just fell forward. We started realizing that we could acquire companies rather than building them from scratch. We failed a ton, continue to fail today, but we acquired all these lessons, and we learned all these things about what makes a company work and what makes it doesn't, and what makes it not work. And so we have put together a lot of these lessons that we've learned, in order for you guys to learn what you can do to build your company in such a way that makes it attractive. So here's my promise and my commitment to you today. First, you are going to learn and understand how a company is valued, how somebody like me who knows nothing about your business can come in and get some minor details and put a range of values on your business. You're going to learn how companies are valued. You're going to get my 10-point blueprint for exactly how to build an irresistible company to a future buyer, all while making millions in the process. You're going to walk away with real, tangible, actionable advice that is going to immediately impact the equity and the value of your company. You can start doing these things tomorrow. Here's a really fun fact I love to share with people. Businesses that are doing over $1 million in revenue sell 43% faster than businesses doing under $1 million in revenue. So the principles that we're going to talk about today are the things that you can do if you're doing $0 in revenue to get yourself up to that $1 million in revenue. And if you're already over $1 million in revenue, they're the same principles that are going to take you from 1 million to 10 million and beyond. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to establish a baseline of how businesses are valued. Okay, this was such an enigma to me before I got into this business buying industry. I thought, don't people just come in and write massive checks for businesses? I had no idea how you value them. I had no idea what that looked like. So businesses are valued generally off of a multiple of net profit. So if you can think about it, in your business, you have top line revenue. You have all the expenses that come along with your business, and at the very bottom there, hopefully it's a big piece, you have a piece, you have what's left over, and that's what's called your net profit. And so companies generally doing under $1 million in profit are going to be valued somewhere between 2 and 3 times the net profit. This is a super general rule. And that scale can slide up or down based on a ton of different factors. But this idea of how businesses are valued is going to come into play a lot during my talk. So I really need you guys to understand kind of how businesses are valued. What's up?
Earlier, was it gross revenue over $1 million or net profit over
Net,
$1 million?
the 43%? Yeah. Gross revenue over $1 million. Total revenue. So this next slide, okay? So this next slide is the first point in the 10-point blueprint. If you're not doing this one right, your company's going to be worth closer to 0 than it is going to be 2 to 3 times the net profit. So to clarify that a little bit, if you have a company doing $1 million in revenue, $750,000 in expenses, $250,000 in profit, your company's worth generally $500 to $750K. Everyone tracking on that? Yeah? Okay, cool. So the first point, okay. Who's heard this story before? I know a lot of you have not only heard this story, but you're living this story. Okay, it's the business owner that does everything for their business. They do the sales, they answer the phones, all the invoicing, all the customer service, all the callbacks. They're doing all the bookkeeping and the material ordering, and heaven forbid, they're on the truck too, installing gutters sometimes. Who here's living that story? I know a lot of you guys are, okay? This is what is called key man risk, or what I like to call the Superman effect. When you're Superman running your business, unfortunately, you really don't have a business. You've created a job for yourself, but it's not really a business. This is the quickest way to kill value in your company is by doing everything for yourself. You get all the stress that comes along with owning a business, but really none of the material benefits. So I want to tell you this story. We had a company that we were looking to purchase. And from the outside, it looked like the perfect company for us. It checked a lot of our boxes. Great reputation in town, great Google reviews. It had all the machinery and equipment that we wanted. And the first question we asked the owner when we were looking at purchasing the business was, hey, what's your involvement day to day? And he's like, guys, don't even worry about it. I hardly do anything in my business. And we're like, great, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. He's like, I go to Costa Rica for a couple weeks at a time. We're like, yeah, great, this is awesome. We're going through our preliminary due diligence phase, and in this phase, we have tons of questions. So we call him, we ask him questions. We call him, he's like, guys, I can't talk right now, I'm on a roof. We're like, all right, that's weird. Maybe he's just filling in for someone sick. We call him again in a couple days. He's like, guys, just fucking out of a sales call. Give you a call back when I'm in the truck. Okay, starting to raise some red flags. We call him again. Guys, hey, I'm just doing the bookkeeping, the invoicing for my company. Let me call you back. Turns out this guy was doing a whole lot more for his business than he was letting on. We learned this lesson the hard way. So we didn't end up purchasing that business, by the way. Didn't work out for us. We did buy a business where we didn't dig into the day-to-day duties and responsibilities of the owner enough. And boy, was it a massive mistake. Okay, so we bought this company and we get in there, we have this 30-day transition, and then guess what? Superman flies away off into retirement. And we realize, oh my gosh, we are left holding the bag of the responsibilities of 2 or 3 people. And so all that net profit that we thought that we had projected out, all the money we thought that this business makes, it all went to zero because we had to hire 3 people to replace Superman. And so you will absolutely kill your value if you're gonna try to go sell your business and you're doing everything. Here's a really, really good test. Can you actually legitimately go to Costa Rica for a month and your company still produces revenue, it still produces profit, and you're not on the phone every 5 minutes with your guys having to lay them out on what jobs are? And I get it, guys, the temptation of running everything yourself, it is tempting. It sucks to find people, it sucks to train them, and you're giving up a bunch of your profits in order to hire other people. I get it, it's really, really tempting, but don't do it. Okay, so don't run your business like Superman. Instead, I want you to make the mind shift that you are now a builder of teams and a builder of systems. Okay, number 2, clean financials are everything. I know that this is a hot topic, man, because I know I can see there's plenty of you out there that are doing your own books and they suck, right? Who here can I just raise your hands. Who can pull a clean P&L for 2025 and actually have it be accurate right now today? Okay, so like 4 of you out of 35. That's not very, I don't know what the math is, it's a small percentage. Your business lives and dies by good financials, not only when you go to sell the business, but today when you're trying to make decisions. So if I'm a buyer of a company, I'm not just buying trucks and trailers and ladders and gutter machines. I'm buying a system of profits, and more importantly, a system of future profits. If you can't show me clearly from your numbers how much revenue is coming in, how much is going out in expenses, and most importantly, how much is left over at the end of the day, I cannot buy your company. So that's why you have to keep clean financials. In the 2 to 3 years leading up to the sale of your business, you should be absolutely keeping the cleanest financials that you can, okay? P&L, profit and loss statement, really good balance sheets that are clean, and then here's the big one, clean tax returns that match your P&L. All right, I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here. I know that this is not a popular thing to say, but in the 2 to 3 years leading up to the sale of your business, please pay your taxes. Don't hide expenses just so that you can avoid paying taxes, because it will kill the valuation of your company. Let's walk through a real world example. I know somebody here has done this. You've ran a kitchen remodel or a bathroom remodel through your company so that you could show less profits and you don't have to pay taxes on that. So let's say you do a $100,000 kitchen remodel, you run it through your business. Congratulations, you just saved yourself probably 30 grand in taxes on that 100K in profit. It's awesome, right? But if we go back to the previous slide, which is how a business is valued, it's valued off of that net profit. So you killed $100,000 in net profit to save 30 grand, and you cost yourself $200,000 or $300,000 in enterprise value. So in those years leading up to the sale of your business, prepare and just pay your taxes. Here's the other thing. We have to keep good, clean financials. So if you're not keeping clean financials and you don't have the skill set to do your own books, hire a bookkeeper. There is really good overseas talent that you can hire for literally $4 or $5 an hour for like 10 or 15 hours a month. That means for less than $100, we can have clean books, and you don't have to do it yourself. You don't have to try to figure out how to do the books yourself. Just hire Nipun, who lives in India. He'll do a much better job than you. Nipun's a real person that we use on our team, by the way. And he's awesome. Okay, so keep clean financials, get a bookkeeper so you can always pull those reports at any given time. Next one, add as much recurring revenue as possible. So one of the biggest levers of that 2 to 3 times net profit that we were talking about, and maybe even pushing above 3 times net profit, is stability. So for better or for worse, the gutter industry is what's called a single project-based industry, meaning we get a call, we diagnose a problem, we solve the problem, and if we do a good job, we never hear from our customers again. Maybe, at least not for 10 or 15 years, right? That is a really, really tough proposition for a potential buyer of a business, knowing that they have to start from zero every single month and just hope and pray that the phone keeps ringing. And so what if you could flip the script though? Imagine this. You have a business that does $20 or $30 or $40,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And every single month you get to charge 100 or 200 customers, you get to charge their credit cards. And you have $20 or $30 or $40,000 in recurring revenue coming in. This adds so much predictability and stability to your business. What would that do for you in the slow months? Two of the markets we're in are Boise, Idaho and Denver, Colorado. Those are snowy places. So January, February, and March, we're like twiddling our thumbs trying to find what to do. But if you have recurring revenue, it immediately adds stability even in the slow times. And so here's how we do this. There's really two levers that we pull in our businesses there's two levers that we pull in order to get this recurring revenue. It's cleaning plans and it's maintenance plans. So if you guys are not focusing on gutter cleaning, you need to start. And what I don't want you to do is get called for a gutter cleaning and say, not gonna work for me, I can't get there, we'll see you in 3 weeks, or go out for just your truck minimum. I want you to treat that as a real legitimate lead that you can upsell and that looks like real value to you, okay? You're gonna go out and instead of selling a one-time cleaning for your truck minimum, you're gonna sell them on a cleaning plan, 2, 4, 6 times a year, and you're gonna charge them monthly for that. You don't charge them when you go out, you charge them every single month. So you break it up, $30, $40, $50 a month. Lever number 2, maintenance plans. So when you sell a gutter system, you're gonna offer a 1 or a 2 year warranty. Pretty standard, most of us I think do that. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna offer them an unlimited extended warranty as long as they're on the maintenance plan. So hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, as long as you're on our maintenance plan, your warranty is gonna last forever. I don't care how long it is. We're gonna come out twice a year. We're gonna make sure that your corners are sealed. We're gonna make sure that the pitch is right. We're gonna make sure that your gutter system, this $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 investment that you've made into our company is going to last for a long time. You do a quick clean, you do a quick tune-up, and again, I'm charging $30 or $40 or $50 a month for this. Imagine if you had a couple hundred people paying you $40 a month, even when you're not even going out there. So maintenance plans and gutter cleaning plans. That's how we're gonna add recurring revenue to our business. So the example that I always use for this is Costco. Okay, so Costco does not make hardly any money on the groceries that they sell. And I know they're not making money on the $1.50 hot dog that I go get once or twice a week. They make money on their memberships. So you pay $150 or $200 to be a part of Costco's membership. That costs them $0, but they get you through the door with the groceries. Their main profit center is the membership. So why can't we do that in the gutter industry? We have memberships in the form of gutter cleaning plans and maintenance plans. This is gonna absolutely change your business if you guys will figure this out. Start small, add these contracts as they come, and you'll start to really crush it. SOPs equals scalability. Okay, so if you, as the owner of your business or your operations manager or some leader in your company got hit by a bus tomorrow, how would your business fare? Would you do okay? Would you be able to survive? Most of us, probably no. If that, it means like, our business is going to zero if one of us gets hit by a bus, right? That is what we want to avoid. So as we document standard operating procedures, we can scale. So one of my favorite places to eat besides the $1.50 hot dog at Costco is Chipotle. I love Chipotle. One of the reasons I love Chipotle is because it doesn't matter if I'm in Atlanta or Denver or Boise or Portland, it's the same freaking meal. And I love that chicken bowl. So we have to run our businesses like a franchise, like a McDonald's or like Chipotle. What this does is when Chipotle is able to hire the most menial workers to do their job, and it's because strictly they have great SOPs in place. They can train a high school kid to do necessary tasks. When we have standard operating procedures in our business and when we follow those SOPs and we really make sure that we train well on them, it reduces our need to hire unicorns. How many of you guys in your business rely on that one employee who just like does so much and figures stuff out for us? I know a lot of us do. If we have great SOPs, we don't need to hire those unicorns. It lowers the bar and the threshold that we have in our hiring. So when you're documenting your SOPs, I don't want this to be super overwhelming for you. A lot of us don't start because that task of documenting the systems in our business seems really, really overwhelming. All I want you to do is focus on core processes. In most gutter businesses, there are about 5 core processes, okay, if you want to write these down. They're admin, So what does our administrative process look like? How do we answer the phones? Do we have a phone script for our receptionist or our CSRs for how we want them to answer the phone? Sales and estimating. When we get an estimate, what do we do with it? How do we show up to the homeowner's house? What's our process for doing a walkthrough? What are our sales scripts? Okay, so admin, sales, and estimating. Our marketing. What are our marketing channels? How much do we spend on ads every month? What's our SOP for installation? I'll bet you guys have, if you are a multi-crew right now, I would guarantee that if I went to one crew versus the other, there would be a different way of getting to the same end result. We want that to be the exact same. We want it to be streamlined. So we should have SOPs for how the installation process goes as well. And last is finance. How do we enter in checks when we get them? How do we take credit cards over the phone? When and how do we balance our checkbook? Okay, so those are the 5 core processes that you should at least start with documenting in your business. Now, I also don't want you to get so granular when you're documenting this process that it becomes overwhelming. So we were helping a business owner out one time recently, and we said, hey, you need to start documenting your systems. He's like, cool. We come back 2 weeks later. I'm like, how's it going? He's like, so good. I have everything documented. I was like, cool, tell me about it. He's like, I even have it documented how my employees are to ask me to go to the bathroom. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. We went way too far here, man. That's my fault, sorry. We don't need to get so granular that our employees become robots, but we do need to document it at least so that it looks the same when we hire new people. Does that make sense? Okay. Diversifying our lead flow. So just a quick raise of hand. I want to know who here doesn't spend any money on marketing and only relies on like organic growth and word of mouth? Okay, cool. You know what I find so funny about, no offense to you guys, but I find so funny about the organic word of mouth people is they wear that like a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I don't spend any money on marketing and I got a business that's growing. There is no predictability in word of mouth. Right, in like this organic, it's just not predictable at all. So I mentioned one of the markets that we're in is Denver. Denver had like a major storm in 2024. And so every home exteriors company had the best year ever. Roofing companies, gutter companies, siding companies, they had the best year ever. And we had 3 or 4 deals fall through, companies that we were trying to purchase, because 2024 was so great, but these companies dropped off a cliff, contracted some to like 30% of their prior year's revenue because they had no predictability in their lead flow. And so a bunch of deals fell through. It is a major risk if 80 or 90% of your leads are coming through one source. And even if that source is Google or if it's Facebook ads or if it's yard signs, that's a major risk. Because what happens if Google changes their algorithm, for example? We're seeing this right now, actually, right? There is a major shift from Google to ChatGPT. How many people here, I know I do, skip Google altogether now and go straight to ChatGPT, right? That is going to get more and more prevalent even in our local searches. And so we have to be diversifying our lead flow and how we're getting these leads coming through. Here are some examples of what you should be focusing on. Referrals, door knocking, yard signs, contract relationships, property managers, and then physical and digital marketing. And there's probably 5 or 10 different channels within physical and digital marketing. I know there's a lot of great digital marketing companies here that you need to go talk to if you're not currently doing digital marketing. Even like small streams, small little, make a big difference, okay? So maybe you only get 50 leads a year off of yard signs. That still adds a ton of stability and not relying on one lead source. So don't go all in on one channel, diversify your lead flow, and then what's key is that we track our lead flow. We know exactly where those leads are coming in and how many are coming in. Okay. If you guys lost your biggest client tomorrow, how many would still be in business and be just fine? Good. That's pretty good. I know for a lot of us, if we lost our biggest client, it would mean financial ruin because we rely so heavily on that one big client, maybe 2 clients that we have. So I want to tell you a story about my friend Brock. Brock, we got linked up actually by a mutual friend by Jeremy. Brock called us in a panic because he had built his gutter business off of the back of a really successful roofing company. It just so happens the roofing company owner was his best friend growing up. And so when he called us, that tap had just been cut off because they had a falling out. And so Brock no longer had a gutter business. We were able to make a deal with him And Brock now, because we've helped him build a business not off the back of just contractors, but a real true retail business. Brock's going to do $1 million. He's going to be on pace to do $1 million in just about, we've partnered with him for just about 6 months now. Too much customer concentration is going to kill the value of your business. One of the first reports that I pull when I'm looking to purchase a company is your customer concentration sheet. Usually if you're QuickBooks, I can pull a report really quick. And if that top line customer is more than 25%, I'm almost always crumpling it up and walking away. It's just too much risk. Your business is built off of one customer. What happens if that customer walks away? So what I want to do is have you guys focus on building a retail business where we're not focused on one customer, but we're focused on 1,000 customers. Here's what this does. When we're focused instead of on the roofing company and the contractor for our business, and we're focused on Mr. Smith and Mrs. James down the road, right? 3 things happen. We have no customer concentration issues, so there's no worry when we go to potentially sell our business, and we can sleep better at night. We get paid when the work is complete. How many of us have had to wait 45 or 60 days to get paid from a stupid roofer because they never, and then we're just hoping that they pray anyways. So our cash flow is so much greater. We have to actually cash in our bank to grow. And then the third thing is retail customers are so much less price sensitive. So we're able to use tactics like Jeremy just taught us on how to close at higher rates and higher prices. And so our business starts to explode if we'll focus on the retail customers. This requires us to really put a focus, though, on marketing and sales. So we cannot build our business off of retail customers if we don't focus on marketing and sales and doing those things effectively. So diversification is going to protect us. Focus on building a retail business and not just relying on these contractors, and you'll do really, really great. Plus, little side note, if you've ever wanted to tell off a roofer but you couldn't because he was a huge source of your revenue, that puts the leverage back in your hands. All right. Build a brand, not just a company. So a brand is not just your logo and your color scheme. That is not what it is at all. That's a small piece of it. A brand is shaping how the prospect feels emotionally to our customers or to our company. And that's really, really important because like Jeremy just taught us, our customers buy off emotion. They justify it with logic, but they buy off emotion. Jeff Bezos famously said, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And I know we talk, hopefully there's no leaf filter guys in here. Well, I know we talk really bad about leaf filter, but for better, for worse, one of the reasons why they are so effective at sales and marketing is because they've built a brand that the homeowner can trust. I know that's like a really counterintuitive for the people in this room, but it's absolutely the truth. So there was a manager that we have in one of our portfolio companies, and he was so resistant to raising prices. And we're like, dude, you have to start raising prices. Just listen to us. It'll work, we promise. And he was so resistant to it because he had been selling at 6 or 7 a foot his whole career. And we finally convinced him to start raising prices. And you can't just raise prices, by the way. You have to raise the value that the customer is getting. And that's what we were doing. And so we finally got a call from him one day, and he said, guys, I get it. You were right. And he told us this story. And in my mind, this nice lady had a Southern accent, but I know she didn't because it was in Boise, Idaho. But verbatim, what she said to our manager was, listen, guys, I know that you're not the cheapest in town, but I also know that you're the best gutter company in town, and that's why I want you doing my gutters. And he was like, oh, that's what we're doing here by building a brand. That's why we're able to charge more than the chuck in the truck down the street. And so when you brand effectively and you charge what you should be charging, you get to attract the customers that you want. You get to do work with the people that you want to do work with, who actually value what you're trying to do. And so when you build a brand that is recognizable, 3 things happen. You get instant credibility. You get cheaper and more effective marketing, so your ad spend per lead is actually going to come down, and your conversion rates are actually going to go up, and you get easier closes at higher prices. Do you think this sweet old Southern lady in Boise, Idaho, do you think that she had any resistance when we showed up to her house and told her what the price of her system was going to be? She did not. She bought from us. It was a rollover, right? It was easy. You create a moat around your company, and so while everyone else is competing on price, you don't have to. We build a brand effectively by 2 things: Okay, so first, we do have to have visual consistency within our marketing materials. So a wrap truck that matches our website, that matches our business cards, that match our estimate sheets, right? And something that stands out and looks pleasing to the eye. But number two is we have to have a story to tell. So we train all of our sales guys, all of our estimators to tell a story. Tell a story about the origins of the company. Why did you get into gutters? What keeps you going? What motivates you? Right? What keeps you in this industry? And as we tell our story and as we have visual consistency within our branding, you'll see your brand start to come to life. You'll see sales start to get easier and marketing more effective. Okay, know your numbers. So I gotta speed through these last few. Know your numbers. Too many of us as business owners are flying absolutely blind. We think, hey, I've got a full pipeline. The phone's ringing every once in a while. I've got some cash in the bank. My business must be doing great. My business must be healthy. But the truth is, we have no idea what the health of our business is because we don't know our numbers. So I love telling this story. There was a guy, we were trying to buy his business. He was doing about $2 million in revenue. We were like, perfect, that fits within our buy box. One of the first questions I asked him, I was like, what are you gonna make on the $2 million? What's your net profit gonna be? And he thinks about it for a second. He goes, about 30, 40%. And I darn near hopped up off my chair and I said, what are you doing to get such good margins? I've never heard of such good margins. Are you kidding me? And he paused for a second and he spouted off 2 or 3 or 4 things that he thought that he was doing different than everybody else. When I finally got a hold of that P&L and I looked at his actual numbers, he was netting about 8%. Okay? He thought he did some quick calculations in his head. He had a gut feeling. He did not even know close to what his numbers are. We cannot be guessing anymore, you guys. We have to make the shift in our minds from being guest-driven owners to being data-driven CEOs. I promise the only way that you are going to excel in your business, that you're going to be able to scale it, is to make the right decisions and to know your numbers. How do we know how much to spend on marketing if we don't know how much it costs to acquire a lead? Or how many of those leads convert to estimates, or how many estimates convert to sales, and what our average ticket is on those sales? We're flying blind. We're just playing guess, right? We're rolling the dice. How do we know when to hire if we don't know what our pipeline is and we don't know how many linear feet of gutter our guys can produce every single day? How do we know when to make capital expenditures on upgrading equipment if we don't even know what our cash balance is in our bank? Not what our bank account says, but what our cash balance is, right? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to start keeping track of what's called a scorecard. The scorecard is going to be a weekly, a weekly sheet that you're going to fill out every single week that's going to keep track of the most important KPIs or key performance indicators in your business. Take a picture of this. Everyone get your phone out. These are the 15 or so numbers that you need to be tracking at least on a weekly basis. This has everything from, it gives us a snapshot of our financial picture, of our marketing spend. It gives us an idea of what our operations is doing, what our sales is doing. I want you to track these numbers with your leadership team at least on a weekly basis. And if your leadership team is you up top as the owner by yourself, that's fine. Go through the exercise anyway. Do the scorecard every single week. All right, this one I can be quick on because I think everybody, it's 2025. I think we all know we need a CRM now. If you're still writing down stuff on sticky notes and pen and paper, look, guys, it's time. Okay, jump in, get a CRM. I wanted to buy this company here on the East Coast so bad last year. It was a large gutter and roofing company, and I promise I would have bought that company, would have written a check for it. But I couldn't make sense of what the heck the guy was doing because he was doing $6 million in revenue and everything was on Excel sheets and paper and pen. Like, man, it's 2025, get a CRM, okay? I, as a buyer, can't make sense of your business if we don't have data in a CRM. So just get a CRM. All right, last thing. I want you to think like a buyer. These first 9 points that we've gone through have been, I think, really, really clear. But there's one piece of this that I can't help you with. And you already know in your business what you should be fixing. You already know what you need to be working on. So start doing those things as well. As we start to improve upon these 10 items and the things that you know in your head that you should be doing better, I promise you're going to see a shift in your company. if somebody does approach you to buy your business one day, that equity and that value is going to be significantly increased. And hopefully, one day, when you ask yourself that same question that I asked at the beginning of this talk, in 6 months or in 12 months, would you buy your own business? Hopefully, we're a little bit closer to a yes than we are to a no. Bluebird Capital. So again, if I can jump back to where I was at the beginning, we are a small private equity fund that'll do about $40 million in revenue across our portfolio. We've bought 13 companies. We are actively seeking great partners to partner with. Whether you're looking to retire and you want to just sell your company and be done, great. Or whether you're looking for somebody who can inject some capital and some know-how into your business to explode it, we want to talk to you. If you feel like you're ready to go on a journey of absolute sprinting with somebody who's already made the journey before, please reach out to me. I promise we can help your business grow. And it's with capital and it's with know-how. We own currently in our portfolio some of the biggest gutter companies in the country. I promise with the right partnership and the right know-how, we can take your company to that level as well. Reach out to me. That's my email, my personal phone number. Please, if you need anything, let me know. But let's go create some generational wealth. Appreciate you guys.